how about the Warriors? Their record isn't the greatest, but they're fun again, and Steph's out there balling, so it's been really fun. What's been your thoughts so far?
I feel like the Warriors need to realize that Steph just needs to flat out carry.
Right.
I mean, there's been games where Steph Curry has been playing 6 minutes in the fourth. They're still trying to, they're doing all these lineups and all that though, and it's really weird because Steve Kerr is still playing as if it's the Dynasty Warriors or whatever.
Right, he's still playing like it's Durant out there, where you can just do read and react and cut stuff, and that's just not Oubre. Wiggins has been better here, but that's not Oubre, and Wiseman struggled in it. He's going to struggle. He's a rookie, but I think he could be really good. So, they're fun, but it doesn't really fit. But if they're playing, you're going to watch because of what Curry does offensively.
Yeah, and in those times though, where it's just like nothing's going well, it's like when they just feel like forced to give, when they have to just give Steph Curry the ball. I mean, he's balled out, like seriously. I mean, 60, 48, 58 or whatever. It's just like Steph Curry. When he's been asked to, he's carried. I feel like the Warriors will recognize that more as the season moves on. But in my personal opinion, though, yeah, Steph is definitely taking that team to the playoffs no matter what.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just hope that they can stay healthy and that Steph can stay healthy. And, they're going to be able to make a move. Hopefully Clay can come back and beat Clay. But that Minnesota pick is going to be really valuable.
Oh, for sure. I mean, another thing too, though, is just that the Minnesota pick can be so valuable. You could probably get off Wiggins' contract and get a max in return or whatever. And that's going to be super nice for them. Seeing Steph Curry play though it's so wonderful.
It's so fun and just how crazy it is how much having Curry and Durant just makes the NBA better.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, it's crazy how much I never realized this though. I always thought when I cheered for the Warriors or whatever, though, like seeing them play in the moment, it was because of how good their offense was or whatever. But now I see it's mostly just because of Curry. I mean, like it's really cool seeing him barely move his hand up,
right,
and from the logo, and defenders are already jumping. He's just so dangerous of a shooter, though. And his and he's really his finishing is also. I feel like his finishing is super underrated.
Oh, for sure, he's so crafty around the rim.
Yeah, and he's probably like the second best ball handler in the league behind Kyrie. So yeah, no, Steph Curry is just so good. I feel like this year, the reason why I feel like he won't get injured, and you might think this is a little weird. I feel like most superstars have that one season where they're a little older, and somehow, some way, they just have to carry,
Right, I think it happened to LeBron this first year.
Yeah, LeBron. Even LeBron in 2018.
Right, and it's kind of similar. LeBron was coming out off those. What was it? 9 finals in a row or something like that.
I think it was 7 at the time.
7. So that's a lot of miles. And then same with Curry, it was 5 in a row.
Yeah, 5 in a row.
5 in a row. It was unfortunate, but it was probably bound to, it's probably good for him too, maybe. It's not always good to hurt, but good to get a little time off and get healthy. Get your legs back.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Also, not to say he's never carried a team to the playoffs. I mean, he did it in like 2014.
Right.
So, he's obviously done it before though. But now, I feel like now it's a little bit more impressive because he's no longer, 20 something.
Right. And the roster isn't the greatest. Like Draymond, when you watch, he does a lot of cool things offensively, but it's just not the same Draymond. So
no, yeah. But yeah, no. From Steph Curry though, honestly, this year I'm expecting it's probably going to happen though. But I feel like we should we shouldn't be surprised when we see all of a sudden a bunch of game winners, and all that though, but probably at least one buzzer beater in the playoffs from Steph Curry.
Right. I also think if they make the playoffs, he should be more of a MVP candidate than he is right now.
Yeah. Well, I feel like probably not because team record is pretty important.
No, I mean, like at least like top 5 on the ballot. I don't think he should win MVP. I think he should be talked about more, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah,
I
I feel like he's also not doing anything like historic.
right.
I mean, shooting is obviously historic, but that's been around. He's been doing that. He's not like Westbrook who can get away with having a bad record because he's averaging a triple double or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. By the way, that MVP, honestly, that's the one MVP where I'm like, yeah, that should have been given to James Harden, other
I
than
think so.
2018 one.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the New Look Suns. They haven't quite clicked, but I think they will. Their record's actually pretty good for being the Suns.
Mm-hmm.
But I like a lot of their players, and they'll eventually click because Chris Paul likes to play slow paced, and half court offense. And Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton when they were at their best, and the Suns last year when they were at their best were running guns. So I just think they got to get used to that. It's a really young team. What do you think about the Suns so far?
Sorry. Much like last year, I feel like they're gonna have a slow start. I mean, last year with Chris Paul, they were below 500 for a little bit. As the season moves on, though, Chris Paul's effect on the team is definitely going to be seen. They're going to be playing a lot better. Chris Paul seems to get some players to play defense, even when they, they're just not known for that. Dennis Schroeder is an example.
Right.
I feel
top 5 in defense right now.
They're what?
Top 5 in defense. Ayton's been good defensively.
Yeah, exactly. And also another thing about Ayton though is just that any big guy that plays with Chris Paul gets better immediately.
Right. The stats are there at first. Sorry to cut you off, but eventually the stats will catch up. Like when you watch, they fit. You can tell that it's going to work at least.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for Chris Paul, this is great. Alongside them anymore there's no longer Jamal Crawford, JJ Redick.
Right.
It's Devin Booker. Who can handle the ball and all that, and he's not going to handle the ball like James Harden. Everyone's going to get involved and all that. Chris Paul, I feel like he's in a pretty good situation, honestly. Probably not a situation where he wants to be in, like, because they're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna win a championship. But for his effect on the Suns, though, is definitely going to be there for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was definitely a smart on them to build a winning culture because they got really a lot of nice players. Like I like Mikal Bridges. He's really good defensively. He can shoot.
Mikal Bridges, is probably at times, honestly, the third best player on the team.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, he's such a good 3-and-D guy. He's like a 2014 Danny Green, but like a little better, honestly.
Yeah. Crowder off the bench. Cameron.
Cameron. What's his name?
Robinson. I believe. Johnson. Sorry.
Johnson. Yeah, Johnson. You're right.
I almost said Cam Reddish too.
That's cool. Cameron Johnson. That guy. I haven't seen much of him though, but for what I have seen though, is that he's a really good shooter for his size.
I would agree. I think they're still playing around with their fit and lineups and whatnot. So it's kind of an incomplete, but you could tell they're going to be a playoff team, and they're probably a second team at least. I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Also, I bet Chris Paul is really happy that literally everyone. The only one who will have trouble shooting is going to be like DeAndre Ayton, and he's a center, so that's more acceptable.
Right.
So, but Chris Paul is really happy about that. About how spaced out the floor will be. Also, come playoff time, everyone knows Chris Paul is just going to step it up.
Right. And offensively, scoring wise, he's slowly working himself into, he's trying to get the other players going. And as he gets his stats going, they'll pick up more wins and be a more consistent team, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. This Chris Paul, this older version of Chris Paul, it's like you just know he's capable of dropping 20 and 10 every night,
Right.
But he's really just content with. He'll just drive. All his threes now are mostly just catch and catch and shoots. He's not really doing much though, but it's okay because come playoff time, you just know he's gonna step it up and be CP3, the point guard.
Mm-hmm. They're 17th in offense right now. That's not going to stay for long.
No, it's not. They're gonna get better for sure.
Yeah, I think another. We talked about fun teams. I've really enjoyed the Jazz this year. They've been kind of what we thought they'd be last year, maybe like a dark horse team that maybe could go to the Western Conference Finals. Who knows? I don't think they'll make it to the finals or win a championship this year, but they're really clicking. Conley's looked really good this year.
Mm-hmm.
When Conley's playing, they have a net rating of plus 16 and averaging 116 points on offense. So that's really good. So it's good to see, him kind of back to being grit and grind. Mike Conley, what's been your thoughts so far?
Mike Conley and Donovan Mitchell. You might think this is a little weird, but they're it's what they have going is kind of what Portland should have going with Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. I mean, Dame is better than both of them. That's not,
right.
But I'm talking more about just playmaking and defense. They're both capable. Mike Conley, he's a pretty good playmaker. Both him and Donovan Mitchell, great defenders. And they're good scorers who just can get their own without having to worry about the other one. And so I just want to say that. But anyway, the Jazz have been. They have been so good. Usually those two small guard duos don't really work out.
Right.
But they have been doing great, like I said, on both sides of the ball and everywhere on the Jazz team. I mean, holy crap, they have been shooting like crazy. The volume of shots they have taken, it's insane. The amount of makes they have made. It's
right, so efficient.
Yeah, it's a story.
Mavericks last year offensively.
Oh yeah, seriously. I mean, just no one can miss.
Right, Clarkson. I thought they overpaid for his contract, but he's sixth man of the year. 16 points.
He's a six. Yeah, for sure, he's a six man. And that's been great to see. Rudy Gobert hasn't been playing as good. I feel like even last year he didn't, play as good. But he's still great. He's still a great rebounder. He's still a great post defender. But all the forwards on the Jazz team are pretty underrated in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. The Europeans they got. I mean, holy crap, they are some good shooters.
Oh yeah, and with Bojan, it hasn't totally clicked yet. So for them to be the number one team in the West is pretty cool. Like I still think he's, working himself back into shape, and he could do more for him, and I think he will eventually do more for him.
Oh yeah, definitely. Also, it's amazing too because this team, outside from their guards, they're most of the time though they're a pretty small team,
Mm-hmm.
And so that's also because aside from their center, they're essentially running small ball, and it's they've been doing it really well, and I feel like that hasn't been talked about at all.
Right.
The Jazz in general haven't really been talked about at all.
No.
And so this team was literally one shot away from making the Western Conference Finals last year.
I know we were talking about it last night. It's pretty funny.
Like,
that's how it would go. Like how the Nuggets would be talked about right now if that shot went in, and how the Jazz would be talked about if that shot went in. But to your point, for how small they are, they're third in defensive efficiency. So that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, dude. The Jazz, I won't really say they're a dark horse because it wouldn't be surprising, in my opinion, seeing them in like the Western Conference Finals or something,
Mm-hmm.
But, it's just, I don't know. I just feel like everyone should definitely be giving them more attention.
For sure. We'll just transition to the Lakers. I don't have a whole lot to say. They're just really good. They're a lot better than last year, I think, even. Dennis Schroeder's been great for him defensively.
Yeah.
They just They know what they're doing. I would be so surprised if they didn't make the finals. They're really good offensively, really great defensively, and they have 2 top 5 players on their team. So
yeah, the thing about the Lakers though is like, if you look at anywhere, Laker fans are always like, "Hey, talk about us, talk about us," you know. The thing is though, it's like, what is there to say? Like they're doing
right.
great, and that's it. They're just doing great. They're doing better than most teams, you know. Even with them being kind of passive, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, holy crap, LeBron is really just not. He's not been like that killer mode, you know.
No, even AD.
No,
But they
yeah,
don't
especially AD, you know. Yeah,
so deep and better this year than last year, which is crazy because they were really good
yeah. Last year they were great, but I mean now it's like Dennis Schroeder.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, holy crap, that's a really good addition, you know, at the one.
How
Marc
about that?
Gasol and Montrez, wow,
Mm-hmm.
you know, Marc Gasol is a better, in my opinion. He's been a better defender than JaVale McGee and Dwight last few years. You know, he played a pivotal role. He played a pretty pivotal role with the 2019 Raptors. You know,
Right, and we're seeing the Raptors without him.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Though they really miss him because his defense and his passing is so great. You know,
Right,
and his scoring isn't there anymore. But his scoring, that's okay because Montrez is a scorer.
right. I was just about to say that he's
Yeah.
not the scorer that he once was, but what he does passing wise is just he doesn't need to be the scorer that he once was.
No. Also, Marc Gasol is one of those players you get
Mm-hmm.
strictly for the postseason. You know,
Oh, for sure.
he's gonna give you like 5 points in the regular season, but in the postseason, I mean, no, I mean, you know, in the post, no one's gonna get by him, and he's gonna get his, and his passing is gonna be elite. So yeah, they'll do fine.
Yeah. Um, but we'll flip to the other Los Angeles team, the Clippers.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Boy, was I so wrong about them last year. Um,
Well, actually, it's okay. I mean, we were all saying it's like, wow, Kawhi just might be the best player in the league, you know, and that didn't, you know,
right.
that's not the case.
I think they're fit better tin last year, but I gotta see it in the playoffs. I'm sorry. Like Lou Will has never really been good in the playoffs. Playoff P. Um, I do like Ibaka. You know that was a good pickup, but they don't play him in crunch time. It's so weird. Like I just
Yeah, I agree.
so I don't really like Zubac. We'll see if they make any moves. Kennard for that money, but they're winning. So and Kawhi and Paul George have been good.
Yeah, well, I mean, last year they were winning, you know.
Right. That's why we
The
all
thing,
thought.
yeah, the thing is, Lou Will, honestly, I don't care what anyone says. That guy sucks, in my opinion. You know,
I think he's kind of washed. I don't mean to like overreact too much over.
yeah,
Well,
no, it's okay. It's okay. Even his entire career in the postseason, that guy has never been good, you know.
right.
And I will stand by that. Patrick Beverly, he's another one of those guys, though. I mean, he's a high energy player and all that, you know. Okay, but last year, I mean, holy crap! I mean, he had a really good defensive stop on LeBron, you know, on Christmas. He
Right.
was doing really. I mean, he played some great defense though. But you know, later in the season though, once we saw LeBron really like take the game seriously, Patrick Beverly was just taken out of the equation. You know, you know, and I feel like LeBron's not the only player that can do that. I feel like once most guys really take it seriously, Patrick Beverly is not a problem for them. Like James Harden, you know.
Right.
Uh, yeah, Patrick Beverly. I mean, he's a great defender and all that, but his defense, in my opinion, has virtually nothing on superstars. You know, and it's weird this Clippers team because they have Kawhi. You know, it's kind of I understand that Kawhi maybe doesn't want to guard the best player or whatever, you know, in crunch time. Uh, and I understand he's able to do that because of his status and all that. But I mean, if you want to win games and you're the best defender, you should probably, you know,
Right.
stop the best offensive player or whatever.
And we saw in the playoffs, like he was a shell of himself. Like he looked beat. Like his legs were just gone. He was short on all the shots. He was not there defensively, and before me to really like form a total opinion on them, I got to see a big sample size because like they blew up last year.
Yeah, no. Well, another thing about Kawhi though is that Kawhi is not the guy he was back in San Antonio. He's not. I don't think he's not capable of doing some of those things anymore, like those really small things that made him so great. Because obviously now his scoring is so good. Was a lot better. I mean, but the thing is though, it's just like I don't know. I feel like he'll probably never recover from the hip injury. And Paul George doesn't help at all.
Right.
I mean, this year, look,
Yeah.
I get so annoyed by Paul George because he's been playing great, obviously, and he's the thing he said, he never really thinks about the future, in my opinion, when he speaks.
Right.
Because he's like, yeah, this like this year is different, where I'm just really locked in and everything, And I feel like every time he says something like that, you just know when the time comes, when he actually needs to be that way, he's just gonna choke.
It's kind of hard not to laugh at PG at times because like,
No,
he's like, look at me, talk around me, I'm really, really good, but like, are you? Like, I think he's a good basketball player. Don't get me wrong. You gotta show up when it matters, and we'll see if he does, and if they do.
Yeah. Also, a lot of his statements are really stupid. Like when he criticized Doc for how he was using all that.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like Doc was right. It's like the guy that was helping him come up with those schemes and everything is still there.
Doc made you hit the side of the backboard.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, though, another thing about Paul George too is that Paul George is one of the best 3-point shooters in the NBA.
Right. The crazy thing is, if you look at his stats right now and everything he's done, he has a Hall of Fame resume. Or track, so it's just weird.
Yeah, and people, I don't know. It's funny because Paul George, throughout the majority of his playoff career, he's been one of the biggest letdowns ever. Yeah, it's so funny. I'm a big three Miami Heat fan. I'm a big fan of that big three. But I just, for the first time ever, I just saw that 7-point game 7 from Paul George a few days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, holy crap, Paul George has really been doing this for like his entire career, And that was back in Indiana when he was supposedly like one of the top guys in the NBA. So he's I don't know. I'm honestly, it's gonna sound bad, but I'm honestly just expecting him to choke, honestly, in the postseason.
You always want to have faith in players, but he hasn't given us any reason not to think that.
No, because when he talks the most,
I mean,
it's just not going to go well.
Right.
Yeah.
He was talking a lot last year.
Yeah. No, I think about Paul George too, though. Paul George has the skill and the physical abilities of a number one option, but he has the mindset of a number two. It's really weird.
It is weird. Because, like, when you watch him play, it's like he's so smooth. Like, he can just score whenever he wants, but he doesn't.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's like Kyrie, a guy who's, not nowhere near as athletic, and stuff, who actually is a second option. It's like you see him play and you're like, wow, because his mindset is just always there, like especially in the clutch and all that.
Right.
It's like when when he wants to score, he's gonna score. Paul George, he has his moments where he just looks so weak minded. It's insane.
It's tough to mentally, get rid of that.
Oh yeah,
it's tough, and I obviously, I have nothing against Paul George. If he was on the Blazers, I would probably hate him, but I wasn't any fans of any of his teams. But you hope that he can, show up in the playoffs and be really good. I think there's only a few more teams, and we can run through them really quickly. The Spurs.
Also, another thing about Paul George too, is that it's actually hilarious, like the amount of game winners that have been scored on him.
Right.
You know. But yeah. No, you can continue now.
The Spurs this year. Surprised to see them, as a 5 seed right now, but they got some nice young players, and I don't think they'll end in the 5 seed, but they could be a playoff team. Obviously, Pop does a good job. DeMar DeRozan has been really good, and LaMarcus Aldridge. I was listening to a podcast, and that's so true. If the game was only 5 minutes long, LaMarcus Aldridge would be the greatest player of all time.
Oh my
5 minutes
God.
is just so good.
Yeah, no, that's very true. um, yeah, no, I mean, the Spurs. Keldon Johnson's a really good player.
I really like him. He's gonna be good.
Yeah, he's gonna be really, really good. I mean, seriously, he's pretty electrifying.
Mm-hmm. Not
Lamarcus,
talk,
yeah, Lamarcus. What'd you say?
Kellen Johnson, not really talked about at all.
Oh no, but like he's a really good shooter and he brings a lot of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, no, I feel like he should be talked about more. It's the second year too, so maybe that's another reason. But still,
Right. He has John Zion in his class and Hero,
oh,
obviously that playoff.
exactly. And Lamarcus, like you said about Lamarcus, yeah, it's true that it's like, yeah, he's only good for like little spurts here and there, of time. Uh, but Lamarcus, I don't know. I guess he's not. He's so weird too because he's so offensively talented,
Mm-hmm.
and he can average 20 and all that. But no matter what, he's just not that valuable.
It's very he's an old school player.
Yeah, he's really I mean, his game is. He's
Just
been
mid.
shooting threes these past few years, but it's basically just mid range.
His best shot is a mid range shot,
Oh
which
yeah,
is funny. Your two best players can only shoot mid range shots.
yeah, and Demar is actually this year. It's been very surprising, but he's been doing really well.
I think so too.
This year, it's probably this might be his best year ever, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't remember what team they played. I think it might have been the Lakers or whatever. But no, Demar, he was. I mean, he defensively, he did not look like DeMar DeRozan of the past.
No, yeah.
Yeah, and that was again, it was only one game, so it might have just been that one game or whatever. But yeah, no, DeMar DeRozan, he just looks like a very, very different player, and it's been nice to see because DeMar is very likable.
Yes,
And he's had some pretty bad luck in these past few years.
I would agree. And I like their young guards. It's good seeing Murray be healthy, and he's finally, he's not there yet, but he's finally kind of being the player we thought he could be. And Lonnie Walker, he can, he's fine offensively. Defensively, it's a pretty good guard tandem defensively.
Oh yeah, Derek White and DeJounte, especially DeJounte, they're good defenders.
Right. And they've actually drafted pretty well over these last couple of years, so it'll be interesting. It's a mix of young and old. I think they will make the playoffs. I'm not sure what their future is or what they're trying to do here. Just stay competitive, maybe, which makes sense. So
yeah, they probably really regret not trying to get more first round picks out of the Raptors, though. To be honest with you.
yeah, just definitely could have.
Yeah. I mean, now superstars, they're getting exchanged for 4+ first round picks.
Right.
So
What was AD was 4? Drew was like 3, wasn't he? 3 or 4?
Drew was 4. Drew was 4. Yeah.
No offense to Drew, but Kawhi was way better.
Yeah. It's actually kind of crazy how the Pelicans got similar trade packages from both AD and Drew. So that's
crazy.
a little weird. Yeah, but no, but yeah, the Spurs. Yeah, now I could see him being an 8th seed for sure. But this year LaMarcus is going to be gone. DeMar is going to be gone, and they'll probably have some time to. They'll probably get some. They'll probably get some good development out of their young guys.
Oh, for sure. What do you think the future looks like for Pop? Do you think he's stays for a while or what?
I don't know. I would like to see Pop go to a championship team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, first of all, Pop is pretty old. Does he want to keep being a head coach? I don't know. I know he's talked about retiring a few times or whatever.
It seems like every year the last 3 years.
Exactly. Yeah. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he went that the role of just going to be an assistant coach for like the Lakers or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Just be
A
around
guy.
the.
Yeah. Yeah. A guy where he can help and he doesn't have to do nearly as much.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just wouldn't be surprised if that's what he did. But then again, he just might keep coaching until he dies.
Yeah. It's kind of the rare time, I feel like Pop's pretty likable, even though some of his in-game interviews are a little awkward. But
Yeah.
most people are like, if he keeps coaching, it's like, yeah, why not? If he retires or goes somewhere else, I feel like maybe Spurs fans might be hurt, but most people be like, yeah, do what you want.
Well, also, I feel like Spurs fans, they should understand. It's like that. I don't know, that whole era, those 2 decades. That was a run, but everything has to come to an end.
Right, and there's a new evolution. They're kind of in the past, but they're catching up, you could say.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Nothing but the Spurs too is that I mean, the way they play and all that, though, they really haven't really bought into the 3 ball.
No, leading the league in mid-range shots, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like with LaMarcus and DeMar gone, that will definitely help.
Mm-hmm.
But that's another instance as to why Popple would be an excellent assistant coach.
Right.
Because he wouldn't have to emphasize the mid range or whatever, though, and he would just honestly though, because those late Spurs teams were probably the best passing teams ever.
Oh yeah, they were fun.
So if he, wherever he went, wherever he would go, he would just, bring the positives there. And so I think he's certainly capable of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the future's bright though, I think, for
I
the
think so.
NBA, wherever. I mean, depends on where DeMar and LaMarcus go because contenders can't really use them.
Right.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking LaMarcus will probably go back to the Blazers, though. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I guess I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
The Blazers.
The Blazers just need to be more accepting of talent instead of like fit.
Yeah, let's move into the Blazers. I was going to go Blazers or Nuggets.
Cool.
Obviously they're banged up right now. They typically are.
Yeah.
The Covington trade's not looking great, but he's fine.
Yeah, I think he'll. Well, I hope, but yeah, no, I think, yeah, no, I expect him to bounce back a little bit.
He's been better the last couple of games. I think it's not always easy joining a new team, especially like one with Dame's gonna score a lot, and CJ typically scores a good amount of points as well. So it's hard to find your role there at first. Maybe.
Yeah, because Dame's gonna do his, but then Dame, I mean, he's talked about this himself that he he gets a little worried, and so he wants to make sure CJ gets his.
Yeah, I think they finally did a better job between Dame and CJ to start the season. And then, unfortunately, CJ got hurt. But I like at least, the young guys you're getting to see something. Simons might finally be something. Gary Trent Jr. has been really good.
Yeah. Well, Simons, though, is just, I mean, that guy, he's a small point guard, and I don't know, what more he can do with his role with CJ and Dame, playing too.
It's weird because I think they could probably maybe with Simons and Gary Trent Jr. and maybe Nasir Little, maybe go get some pieces, but I doubt they will. So it's just going to be a weird fit.
Also, Gary Trent,
he's good. He
one
can
of the
play.
best shooters in the league.
Uh-huh. He's good defensively too. He's big.
Yeah,
no. Realize he's 6'6".
Yeah, no, he's one of the best role players in the league too. No, Gary Trent.
Nobody talks about him too.
No, very undervalued. Great player.
I think he's a good trade piece because he's gonna be a free agent soon. So we'll see.
Yeah, honestly, okay. You might not agree with this. But if I would like, let's say I was in control of the Trailblazers roster or whatever, I would trade McCollum. But I would definitely keep Gary Trent because I feel like for a championship team,
You need those.
yeah, I feel like a guy like Gary Trent would be more valuable than a CJ McCollum.
I think so too. um, I'm not sure what they would go get with CJ, but I think I kind of keep getting the impression that they're just trying to stay good until the Lakers are gone and maybe make a run.
Well, Dame is already like what 32, 31?
31, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. And the Lakers, they don't. I mean, LeBron is 36, but he doesn't look like he's getting old at all.
Yeah, Dame is 30.
Yeah, 30. Yeah, yeah. So I don't know how much time they have. Yeah. I mean, there's a few places though. I mean, you could trade him to the Magic.
For what? Aaron Gordon?
You could get a guy like Jonathan Isaac for him.
Yeah. I don't know what the direction is with the Blazers. I'm kind of confused.
Oh, what it seems to me is what it seems to be for me is that they're just looking to do average, but the fact that Dame is so good, their team is just elevated through him.
Right, which is frustrating as a fan because it's like Dame is really good, and I think CJ can be really good too. And I guess I gotta see him healthy. I don't think they're a championship team, but they can make a run in the playoffs. And if they were the 5 seed and got healthy, that wouldn't surprise me. But at least they have some depth this year. I don't know. It's kind of frustrating watching them. They're so bad defensively. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's another thing about just Dame and CJ. Not only them being small, a small guard duo, but the fact that there's like 90 something million between those two is insane.
Right.
It's like CJ should probably be playing point guard. But guys like CJ should really. This sounds mean, but he should really just be on teams where the team is just content with being good, like the Magic, like where they're not looking for championships or anything. They're just looking to like please the crowd.
At least.
Yeah, exactly. Or CJ should be like a 6-man.
Yeah,
he'd be a great 6-man, but like it's just I don't know, just with Dame playing the 1 and the fact that their team. Usually, those Trailblazers teams have very little to no defense. So yeah, no, it's I don't know. That's why it sucks with players who are just so freaking good.
Right.
When they exceed expectations, the franchise seems to do just this. Don't seem to do as much for them.
Right, which kind of sucks because it gives you such false hope when you see like what Dame does against like the Lakers this year. Like no one thought they'd beat the Lakers in a game this year, but they did because just how good Dame and Gary Trent Jr. was.
Exactly. It's and even because they don't have the best roster, honestly.
No, it's kind of funny too. It sucks that CJ got hurt because he's a good player, but Gary Trent Jr. has kind of put up the same numbers as him and been better defensively.
Yeah. Also, I think Gary Trent does not need the ball in his hands nearly as much.
No, right.
Gary Trent is such a good shooter. With him, it's like catch and shoots all day long, and he's a better defender than CJ.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It seemed like CJ made a jump this year, but we'll see, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess incomplete for them right now. I just don't know what to think of them.
Yeah, we're gonna need to wait a little bit longer though, because you should not rely on Damian Lillard averaging like 50 for
It's not fair to him too.
10 games, to get into the playoffs. It's not fair to him, like you said, yeah.
And unfortunately, guards with high usage rates eventually break down at the end of the year.
Yeah.
He's done it a few times, and it kind of sucks, but we'll see.
I mean, last year he went on an incredible run, but when he was supposed to be there for the Blazers, I mean, there's too much wear and tear. The guy got injured,
Right.
And it's like, yeah, it should be a little expected. The guy was I mean, he was literally playing out of this world just to get the Blazers into the playoffs.
Right, 60-point game after 60-point game.
Exactly, and it's just like your player should never have to do that, if they're if they're just that good,
And that's on management, and we'll see if they ever do anything.
Yeah, that is on management, So yeah, let's hope they do something.
The Blazers GM's in there too. There's like a weird group, like Ainge, the Blazers GM, for some reason, Wizards GM. They're always talking about like they're doing something. That they're good GMs, like, oh, that's a really good move. But then it's like, was it?
Yeah, no, it's all pretty messed up, man.
Yeah, I think wrap up with the Nuggets and then a couple more teams. But what have you thought of the Nuggets so far?
I don't know. Their roster is weaker than last year, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Jokic will probably elevate that team though throughout the year.
Insane.
Yeah, Jamal Murray. We'll see what he does.
Mm-hmm.
He's been great, but we'll see if he can put up that playoff performance he pulled off last year. I mean, let's see if he can do something similar to that. Michael Porter Jr. seems to kind of stagnated, in my opinion. But I think he still has quite a bit of potential, But yeah, I don't know. But then though, I feel like we kind of need more time though, for sure.
I think it was, sometimes you see this where they did better than what their team is, if that makes sense, for how young they are. They kind of, what's the word? I'm really blanking on how to describe it, but they were better. Yes, they exceeded expectations. I think, Michael Porter Jr. is a good young player. I really like him. I think he could be really good. He just has so many lapses defensively. Like, he just gets lost off ball. He's been better on ball, but off ball, it's a zoo.
Yeah, that's the thing with him too, though, is that he's not. Yeah, he's so weird because he's so big and he's so athletic, but defensively, yeah, he just doesn't. He's just never there,
Yeah, and I think offensively he's still growing because he's really like a catch and shoot and like a good cutter on offense. Really, his dribbling's not the greatest, and he doesn't have a post up game yet, but he's still really young and only played.
Even with that, though, he's still
really good,
really good scorer. Yeah,
right. It's weird. Malone just does not seem to like him. Like he falls out of rotations at times. Like last year, he didn't want to play Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah, I don't get that at all, though. Honestly, it's like he is so talented. 6'10" small forward, all of that.
Right.
But yeah, it's like I guarantee the inconsistent playing really does not help his development at all.
Oh, right. It definitely does not hurt. I mean, help at all because he's thinking about it when he misses a shot. Like, oh my, am I going out? Am I done?
Yeah, exactly. You don't want that at all.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be back where they were last year. I think with Murray, he's just the player he is. He's going to average around 19 to 20 points. He's going to go on massive stretches, and he's going to, be pretty good for stretches. And I think that's fine. He's still a really good player.
No, yeah, for sure.
I think we just all thought he would take that step. He hasn't quite, Maybe he will. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see a little bit longer, even though it already has been a few years.
Right. It's kind of weird. We're almost halfway through the season, but like I'm kind of, a lot of these teams have been so banged up or COVID. It's like they kind of need some time to see what they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
I think if it's cool with you, you want to hit the Kings, Rockets, and Grizzlies, and then the Mavericks and call it good. We can just breeze through them.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So I think with the Mavericks, they might have, exceeded expectations last year too. They're a pretty young team.
Mm-hmm.
Luke has been insanely good. Losing Seth Curry, does not help. They've been so banged up.
It's a win-win because on one hand, one team gets more defense and size, where the other team gets more shooting. But Seth Curry's shooting is definitely more valuable than Josh Richardson's inconsistent defense and inconsistent shooting.
Mhm. Yeah, they've been rough defensively as well.
Oh
Eh,
yeah.
They've had to play some players like start Josh Green, who could be good, but like he wasn't ready to start because of COVID and so many injuries. And
No, also Josh Green. He's supposed to be this really good 3-and-D player, and that's awesome. But he's a rookie, and they
right,
didn't really have a training camp, honestly, or they didn't have that much of a preseason. So
Mhm.
yeah, there's probably some development there that's still left that still needs to be made,
Yeah, and I wouldn't
And
freak
you
out if
mentioned that. Yeah.
I wouldn't freak out if I'm a Mavericks fan. They're really young. I think the one thing I would freak out about is Kristaps Porzingis. Like
Uh,
it's been rough and the injuries and everything, and there's no way you could. I don't know who would take him, or you're not gonna get anything back. Like, what do you think they do there?
um,
Just write it
if
out,
Kristaps still keeps getting injured, the Knicks have won that trade, just because Porzingis isn't playing. But I don't know. You just gotta hope he can stay healthy, because if he stays healthy, he's a game changer for them for sure.
right? He was really good last year, I thought.
Oh, he was a great last year. Yeah.
hmm And yeah, it's kind of funny that the Mavericks they swap picks. And the Mavericks pick to the Knicks might be more valuable than the Knicks pick to the Mavericks.
Yeah. No, but I think the Mavericks. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like they're gonna be fine.
Mhm.
They're gonna make the playoffs. They're gonna do all that jazz. They're gonna be okay.
It's gonna be a crazy race for the Western Conference playoffs this year. There's some really good teams.
No, for sure.
So
Yeah.
it'll be a fun race,
The West is. They're definitely getting back to the West being pretty stacked.
right? What like every team but Minnesota could probably make the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the Thunder will fall off, but the Kings. How about the Kings? Tied for the 8th seed. They start.
Their rookie Tyrese Halliburton, is that his name?
I really like him. I wish
He's
the
yeah, he's amazing, honestly.
Mhm. Winning play after winning play. He has a
Yeah,
weird shot, but he
it goes
shoots.
in, you know. Yeah. Well, he's not the best shooter in the world, but
No, he could shoot it at least.
yeah, and he's definitely confident, which is great, but he's not too confident, which is also great.
Right, and he actually fits with De'Aaron Fox.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Also, defensively, that guy is already
Mhm.
there.
Mhm.
Him as a rookie, he's already like one of the league's best defenders.
For sure.
So yeah, no, he's been great for sure.
Yeah, De'Aaron Fox. He just keeps you know stepping up his game each year.
Yeah,
And
and very, very quietly too.
he over these last 8 games, he's averaging 28 points a game and playing really well in the fourth quarter. And his shots, developing a lot better.
And that's awesome. Also, dude, he is fast, man.
Oh, yeah, he's the
So
quickest guy in the NBA.
Oh yeah, I mean 0 to 60 in like one step. I mean, honestly, he's so good.
hmm Yeah, they're picking up some good wins. It would be cool if they made the playoffs. I don't think they will. I just think there's some better teams in
Yeah,
front and behind them. But at least they're fun again because what was it, 2 years ago they nearly made the playoffs and then they fell off last year.
yeah. But yeah, no, yeah, they're fun though for sure.
Yeah, finally playing with some pace again. We already kind of talked about the Rockets. The Grizzlies, they're really a good young team. I don't think they make the playoffs this year. Jaw's really good. He cooled off late.
John, yeah, for sure.
They've drafted really well.
Yeah, I mean, Jaren Jackson, he's a good player. Good 3-and-D guy. Even
Mhm.
though he's a power forward, his three ball is pretty good. Defense is he just he just can't really rebound, and he fouls like crazy.
Right.
Yeah, and then what's his name? The
Brandon Clark, he's been good
Brandon
for him.
Clark. Brandon Clark has been exceptional, dude.
hmm
He is really, really good. He was a great pickup for the Grizzlies.
Yeah, his shot's kind of iffy, but it's fine. He's so athletic and does so many things defensively and
Yeah,
moving off ball offensively. It's fine.
yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, I think they've really drafted well, and they probably have one of the best young teams. And we hit on the Pelicans, so I think that's everything.